morning, everybody. We have a special guest today. It's Ambassador of Colombia, Assad Jater. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Braiter. Thank you very much for the invitation to your program.
No, it's a pleasure. Ambassador, you are a diplomat, highly experienced. Tell me, how is Colombia?
How is Colombia? Colombia is a beautiful country located in South America, in the north corner of South America. It's the only South American country with big coasts on the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean. It's a country of regions, so we are a country with a Caribbean country, an Andean country, an Amazonic country. So there is a lot of variety in our geography, in our climate, and of course also in our culture, in our people.
So, variety of relations with your neighbors. How many neighbors do you have?
Well, we have many neighbors, but 6 neighbors. Basically, depends how you count with the maritimite, zone of Colombia or not. But we have the longest border is with Venezuela.
Now, to this question will come maybe later, but I am sure that our viewers would like to know a little bit about you as a man, as a diplomat. How was your career, Mr. Ambassador?
Well, first of all, I am a lawyer with a master's degree in international relations. I have always, since I was at the university and probably since before, interested in the world, in what's going on in the global, and not only in the specific, or regional or national fields. So I participated in a contest to join the diplomatic service in Colombia. Of course, to do it, you have to have a career. Then you have to have a second language apart from our language, Spanish. And then when you pass this process, you have to do a course of 1 year in which you are taught about more specific, let's say, topics for diplomats. Then after there, it's starting, from all the steps to become an ambassador. I began my career being a vice consul in Miami. Then I was transferred to our embassy in Washington. Went back to Bogota. I've been also to Madrid, in Azerbaijan, in Geneva, in Stockholm, and now I'm very happy to be here in Warsaw, in Poland.
I see that you are really highly experienced diplomat. The test to become a diplomat in your country is a difficult test?
It is always a difficult test in the sense that every country looks for the best human resources to be represented by. So, of course, every generation has advanced in many of the fields, and it is, for example, in Colombia, when I joined the diplomatic service, languages were very difficult for Colombians to actually speak more than one language, but now you speak probably 2 or 3 languages. There is more facilities, let's say, for the young people.
So, are there many lawyers in the diplomatic service, Colombian diplomatic service?
There are many lawyers, but not only lawyers, of course. There are even doctors from other professions, because the idea of the diplomatic service, as we conceive it, is precisely to have different points of view that enrich the foreign policies of Colombia.
I am asking because I used to be a vice director of the staff department, the Polish Foreign Service, so I am so interested in those subjects. Tell me, first post, United States it's an important country from the Colombian point of view, probably the most important.
Of course, yes. I began as a vice consul in Miami, indeed, where we have a very important community.
It's a big community?
It's a big community, yes. I think today it's probably the second biggest community, Latin American community in the region. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Many consular problems, passports,
everything.
You have a visa with United States?
We do. Yes, we do have a visa. We are working to, let's say, to not to have it in the near future, maybe to change the procedures, but we at the moment we have a visa. But we have also many legal issues in the sense of many families that are in some of the members in Colombia, some others in Miami, in Florida, so they need to do, I don't know, even to sell a house for any reasons they have to.
So there is an emigration from Colombia to United States of Colombian citizens to.
Yes, there was an immigration from Colombia to the United States. Yeah.
Poles who used to emigrate to the United States. Now this process is rather over.
Yes, I think it's also in our case the same. And that's why we are talking now about probably find another mechanism and not a visa for Colombians traveling to the USA.
Yes, it's always difficult to enter in United States for everybody. We Poles, we were the last nation in the European Union, okay. I think so. But now it's over, fortunately, thanks to the Polish government. Have you ever thought about changing your profession to be somebody else?
Not at the moment. I am, and I have been very happy to be a diplomat. And as I mentioned it, I have worked in the different aspects of diplomatic life, in consular matters, in multilateral work, and also in bilateral relations. So for the moment, I haven't thought about it. But of course, I understand that the afterlife for diplomats very often include the private sector, which is, of course, a crucial sector for any country.
Private business, this area attracts everybody. Probably the incomes are higher. But staying in the circle of charming diplomacy, could you tell me, please, if there are many young Colombian boys and girls that want to join the diplomatic service for some reason?
Well, let me start by saying that the diplomat activity is not always a charming activity. As you know, we have up and downs also in our activity. And on the other hand, yes, there is still many Colombians interested in joining the diplomatic service. Despite that, the developments in technology maybe make that the diplomacy is not today as fashion or as fashionable as maybe other careers. Yes.
So diplomacy is not the first choice of a young, enterprising Colombian man.
I think in the world today, the mentality of the young people is to move more to the high-tech, professions and things like that. But still, there is interest, yes, in diplomacy for young Colombians, and we have wide the spectrum, let's say, of Colombian diplomats. And we are doing it more with this government to bring the interest and the attention of young Colombians from every corner. That many years ago, most of diplomats were in Colombia from the big cities, from Bogota, probably most of them, or from Medellin, or from Cali. Or, we have in the last years, bringing the attention of every Colombian from every corner.
Good. So, if in case a young Colombian man is choosing the career of diplomacy, what are the arguments that are prevailing in his choice? What will be? Possibility to travel, good salary, higher social position.
Like with any profession, I think you have to put in many factors on it. But I think that the main interest would be precisely to have an interest in the world, to get to know how the world works, how the international relations work, how the decision made in one stage can influence the other stages, and of course to have the will and the decision to best represent your country and to bring together to close to your country to the world.
And becoming a diplomat in your country requires any special professional preparation?
Again, you have to be a professional, of course, but it's not limited to, let's say, lawyers or political science or, economists.
Languages?
Languages, definitely, yes. At least you have to speak foreign language of diplomatic use, UN.
Only one or two?
At least one, yes. But of course, in the today, if you speak another language, 2 or 3 or 4, it adds to your score, let's say, to be able to join the diplomatic service.
You get more points during the test.
You get more points during the test, exactly. And then, of course, you have a knowledge of international politics, international relations, know your history, geography. That's very, very important.
Of course, you have to know the world. Ambassador, thank you for saying this. And tell me, does your foreign office, your State Department, like Americans call it, what kind of training the ministry gives to the new candidates or new young diplomats? Is this training essentially different from what you have seen in the other countries, like in European Union?
No, I don't think it's dramatically different. It may have, of course, some accent, stress in certain things, but I think it's more or less the same. We have, in our case in Colombia, once you pass all the exams, you start. You have to do a course, a class of 1 year studying full time, and after a few months, you also have to have practices in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
1 year.
1 year
practicing.
Okay. Studying, and practice. Yes, okay. And then after that year, the group present examinations again. Yes. Now to join the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and from the group.
So in this moment, the candidate still can fail. Will be rejected.
Yes, because there is a first, let's say, filter to join the course, the class. So from 1,000 probably they choose, let's say, 60 candidates, more or less. It depends every year, because it's every year this mechanism. And then from the 60, probably there is only a limit of 30 or 35, let's say, people who can actually join the Ministry of Foreign Affairs at that time. Of course, if you don't pass that year, you can prepare yourself in a better way and present it again. Yes.
Yes, disculpe. We switched, been talking before the interview in Spanish, and now we switched into English. So the candidate makes a long-term investment in terms of time, working, studying 1 year plus 1 year, circulating the foreign office in the building as a stagiaire, and then another filter, another test.
Then
So,
another test. Yes.
2 years of live investment.
Once is to start the course. Then you have 1 year doing this course, and if you approve it, you join the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and then you have 1 year of in which you have to prove that apart from having, let's say, academical skills, you actually are a good.
We have, or at least we used to have, the similar system in Poland, and I was always very sorry for the younger people who were rejected for some reasons after this period of time that they passed with us. I couldn't find a right solution. Okay.
I'm sorry if you allowed me. There is anyway a kind of a good possibility anyway, because the course you do for this year counts as the first year for a master degree of international relations. So if you approve the course but you don't get enough score to join the ministry,
at least you have
you study 6 more months and do, of course, and then you can become have a master degree on international relations.
Amazing recompensation.
Exactly.
Good solution.
Yeah.
Congratulations. It's a good solution. Maybe other countries should copy. Tell me, please, now, being more specific, still staying in the field of diplomacy, what kind of diplomats are Colombians? Are they ruthless negotiators or flexible in diplomatic negotiations? How do you perceive yourself in the mirror?
The ideal, I think, for every country would be to have a different diplomat style for every situation, no, of real life. But I think the Colombian diplomats are conciliators. In general, we try to understand the point of view of the position of the other countries, of the other. So I think we have let's say that's that term of a flexible.
Ambassador, you pass through difficult situation in your country, in your history. So you are highly experienced negotiators in terms of the national reconciliation, and so certainly you have a lot to share with other nations who are eventually passing through the same kind of domestic problems. How do you see this?
Sure, definitely. We have our history give us that say experience and knowledge on be able to give this approach of difficult realities. That is true. So we are at the moment consolidating, let's say, our internal process, and of course, hoping for the world to we see that peace is the best solution always.
I don't want to enter in the details. But I was just asking about the art of the diplomatic negotiations. It certainly involves respect to the other side and
patience.
Good.
A lot of
patience.
Yes.
And any other skills?
I think you have to, of course, there is a beginning point, which is the political will to actually reach agreements, no? And then to try to understand what was the cause of the any situation, and then from there to try to understand and to solve it.
Okay. Could you tell our viewers a little bit about your world of diplomacy? Because you have these two capacities, a diplomat and a lawyer. So you must be expert in the art of the negotiations. Have you been involved during your quite long career in some kind of bilateral negotiations with other countries, other international organization?
I think I don't want to go into details on this, but as I mentioned before, I have been working in my diplomatic career in consular, multilateral, and bilateral issues, and of course also when being in Colombia in different offices. In fact, this mixture that you mentioned of being a lawyer and a diplomat, it was very interesting when I joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, because one of the first offices and where I stayed for some years was the treaty office, with the chief of treaties, international treaties in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So there
we have such a department.
It gives you that possibilities of moving between the legal frame, but at the same time in understanding that legal, if you don't apply it with some political, diplomatical skills, it's just a frame, but you have to give some content to it.
You have a large experience, multilateral diplomacy, bilateral. I've been working in the disarmament area, and now I have a feeling that was a little bit futile. That actually many countries signed the international agreements to get rid of certain kind of weapons, but now they are using those weapons. So it's, for me personally, it's a little bit frustrating. Mr. Ambassador, could you describe, please, to us the Colombian economy? How do you define the economic power of Colombia?
Colombia has the fourth biggest economy in the region, in Latin America. I mean, let's say our most famous products or emblematic products are probably coffee and flowers and emeralds and tropical fruits and gold. Don't forget that the El Dorado legend. El Dorado was placed in what today is Colombia. So gold is also an important. But our major export product is actually still oil and all the derivatives. So more than 30%, probably nearly 40% of our economy, of our income, is from oil, and some also 15 probably from coal. We have also many...
And coffee, your famous coffee, delicious.
Yes, of
course. The best coffee in the world.
Thank you very much. And that's the product we have. We are recognized worldwide, and yes, of course, it's a very important product for Colombia also. Not only again because of the amount of the income it represents for our economy, which is always important, but also because it benefits many families in Colombia, and it's one of our emblematic products worldwide, like flowers and and fruits also. We're the second biggest flower exporters in the world, and we are also the new government, the government of President Petro, with the decision of began an energetic transition, responsible to more green and environmental friendly energies. So we are also working on that, but still, again, our main products are the oil and coal, most of our income.
So let's switch to the area of bilateral economic relations between our countries. Dear Ambassador, what's the reason for the lack of the greater trade between, or are you happy with the level of the trade between our countries?
You cannot be happy never with the level of trade, otherwise you...
Sorry for this question.
No, it's true, but otherwise you wouldn't do anything else. But it's true, we have been increasing our trade with Poland, with the exception, of course, of the 2020-21, that the pandemic situation. But if we see the more, let's say, longer spectrum, yes, we have been trying to consolidate our trade relations, trade and investment relations between Poland and Colombia. You are part of the European Union, so we have a free trade agreement with the European Union, from which Polish entrepreneurs can benefit, of course, and we also, Poland and Colombia, are part of the OECD, so we share some values and we walk in the same direction. Let's say that. Poland has an important trade office in Bogota. It's one of the 5 you have in Latin America, in the region, which means the importance that Poland gives to the Colombian economy and the interest you have in our economy. And in our side, we have also a pro-Colombian office, which is our trade office here nearby in Frankfurt, in charge of Poland, and with the decision and the interest of strengthen or deepen our relations between Colombia and
So the institutional and human structure we have to develop our relations. And I understand the pandemic caused some negative influence.
Exactly, yes.
There was a significant drop of the relations, and we are recovering now.
And we are recovering, definitely, yes. We are recovering. And recovering well, let's say it. Yes, of course, there are things that would benefit our trade. We don't have a direct route, airfare between Poland and Colombia. It would benefit the trade, yes, but we were working on that. But you have very important ports. We also have very, very important ports in Colombia. We're also working in straightening those relations to reach from one place to the other. So the infrastructure exists. Also, we are countries, Poland and Colombia, that has had in the last years important development, let's say economical. So it opens opportunities of cooperation between us. There are some investment of Poland in Colombia also, in some companies, and we appreciate it. And but again, we are. If you ask me, are you satisfied? No, we are working on that.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I've never seen anybody satisfied. I mean, diplomats with the level of the relations. There's always a possibility to do more.
Sure.
And Tell me, are there many companies, Colombian companies in Poland?
No, not really. But we are exporting again to Poland. We share also. There is a big company that is in Poland and also in Colombia, Biedronka, which in Colombia is called ARA. And we have
do they take Polish products to Colombia?
And they are going to bring Colombian products to
and vice versa.
to Poland. Yes. So in fact, there is what is called Colombian Action now in June precisely to bring a big variety of Colombian products that will be for 2 weeks at least in the all the Biedronka supermarkets in Poland, so where people will have the opportunity to actually acquire them and get to know them, because probably so many people don't know about it. So we're very proud, very happy to
good news. So everybody now during the middle of the year can prepare a Colombian dinner in his own house.
Sure, exactly in a nice Colombian hammock, because there will be also we produce very fine hammocks, and there will be also in an exhibit.
My next question has to do with the future projects. Are there any interesting projects for the future between our countries?
Again, this is one of immediate let's say possibilities, but we keep working and on straighten this. So I cannot tell you we have this or that specifically, but there is a constant, a frequent movement of between Colombia and Poland, of interest in developing these relations.
So conquering the heart through the stomach,
we
already discussed that this is happening, will happen. And what about the culture? You've been promoting Colombian culture in Warsaw, maybe in other cities. I saw a show. The culture could play a role in developing our bilateral relations in the large sense of the term, but including economic cooperation.
Definitely. I think that's an important field in which we try to work and to promote it in Poland. But let me tell you that Colombia is today a major producer of pop culture in the world, with not only famous singer Shakira is even not the most updated, but she's the most well-known singer in the world. But there are many other singers also that following this huge success of Shakira, also having very good presence in the world.
I can admit that I know who is Shakira, even in front of my wife. Yes, it's your culture ambassador all around the world.
Of course, and I know you the Polish readers know very well the Gabriel Garcia Marquez books, and probably get to know the famous paintings of Fernando Botero, who is one of the most prominent painters in the world, and yes, we will try, and it's part of our job, let's say it, and our interest to promote in general the Colombian culture in Poland, which is very varied, as I mentioned before, because according to the region in Colombia, food and music and many other manifestations of culture may be very different, from the Caribbean to the Andeans. So it could be very different. And also,
you are rich in diversity, let's say.
We're very rich in diversity, and it is one of our strengths in the world, definitely, or by diversity. Diversity and biodiversity. Colombia is the second most diverse country in the world, and we have the most concentrated per kilometer square biodiverse, let's say, land, which is in the Urabá region. It's a border with Panama, which is a very, very biodiverse, rich in biodiversity. Apart from the Amazon, of course, 35% of the Colombian territory is covered by the Amazon jungle. So yes, we are proud of that, and we are promoting also, and we are kind of becoming fashion touristic destination. Many people want to visit Colombia. During many years, people who traveled to Latin America, probably they didn't go to Colombia for many reasons, but now those travelers and new travelers are discovering our country, and we are happy on that. We have increased important the number of visitors to Colombia, and we are promoting a sort of tourism which is environmentally friendly, a tourist that also reached the developments of rural areas, and let's say tourists that benefit the local population. Communities, yes.
Great idea. It's all about to give the local communities some push.
Exactly.
As a matter of fact, I know your country. I've been there as a tourist. So I advise everybody to see in the capital the Museum of Gold. Unforgettable experience, simply. Mr. Ambassador, are you satisfied with the economic position of Colombian businessmen and business community in the European Union in the larger sense, not only in Poland?
I mean, yes, the European Union is, of course, as a bloc, is the major investor in Colombia.
The major investor?
Yes, it's, of course, for us, it's a very important partner. But yes, I think we have to move a little bit to discover non-traditional partners, even between the European Unions, no? Because we have, of course, a big trade with some other European countries, like Spain, of course, or Holland, or France, or many other countries, of course, Germany. But we need to, and we are willing to, and we are working towards straighten the trade relations also with Poland.
So certainly tourism it's important point, item in the agenda, in our agenda, and Colombia for Polish tourists from the middle class or upper class would be interesting destination. Different culture, beautiful churches, food. So it's experience to go a little bit farther than north of Africa, where Poles are going. A majority of our tourists goes. Okay. Which area could Colombian businessmen could be more active in Poland and Poles in Bogota?
I think we have to explore
some suggestions for business.
I think we have to explore the possibilities of cooperation in environmentally friendly energies. As I mentioned, the Colombian government is committed to a transition to green energies, and we're starting to work on that. In spite, again, that our major, products for exports are oil and coal, but we are committed in taking seriously this transition. The circumstances in the world, given the fact of the warming, global warming and all this, has led the countries, the world in general, to move slowly to new ways of energy, and more friendly. And I think that is one of the possibilities we have to explore to work together, as well as in agro-industrial products. We're very interested in technifying a lot more our production. So I think that is a very important, let's say, two fields we could look to cooperate, and yes, and improve the movement of people, to the Poles coming to Colombia to visit Colombia. Sometimes you have many Polish going to very, very nice islands, of course, in the Caribbean. We also have a beautiful islands in the Caribbean, San Andres Island, which is with this beautiful sea. We call it the Sea of the Seven Colors. It changes. But in Colombia you have that beautiful Caribbean, and also you have the beautiful mountains, the Andes. We have the longest, tallest mountains near the sea, which is the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta, which is with snow, perpetually the whole year, snow on the top, and you come down, it's the Caribbean Sea, more than 4,000 altitude, and then you come down straight to the Caribbean.
I am afraid that making these questions to you, I am making you to miss your country.
I'm very happy of course, what we can offer as a country. Yes, of course, but my position and my possibilities are now to be here in Poland, where I feel very welcome, and I'm very happy.
Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for your time and for the fact that you are keen to share with us your professional experience, your vision of the world. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Mr. Braiter. Thank you very much. Gracias a usted.